And thank you for the follow as well, Amethyst. Been playing Warframe a few days now. Any tips? I have a lot of tips, depending on what you could potentially be needing help with. Do you have a specific question about, like, progression or something? Just because, oh, no. I do not want any more Rivens. I appreciate the thought, though. I really don't want more Rivens. I'm trying to get rid of my Rivens at this point. Yeah. Okay. I like to start with, like, a more specified answer instead of, just so everyone knows. It's not that I don't have advice, it's that I don't want to overwhelm people by, info dumping. So, if you do have a question, the more specific you can get, we can expand from there, but I like to start with, like, a kind of pinpoint kind of answer thing, if that makes sense. Mostly the mods confuse you. Okay. So, when it comes to mods are the thing that are going to actually allow you to improve upon the effectiveness of your arsenal, whether that's a Warframe, whether that's your weapon or a companion. Everything is modified with mods, and mods come in various different types and shades and whatever. I don't know why I said shades, as if that, I mean, I guess that's true. Some of them are bronze. Anyway, the type of mod will depend whether or not you're talking about Warframe, whether you're talking about primary, secondary, or melee. There's different mods for different categories, and each mod will have a separate sort of overarching theme in use. So if we're talking Warframes, you'll have mods that can modify armor, energy, health, shields, things like movement speed, duration, efficiency, range, and strength. Armor is, you know, most games, it is the chance of lowering some of the damage you take. It's not a very important stat on 99% of the frames, I'll be real. Energy is your overall capacity. For abilities, think of it as your mana pool if you've played other fantasy games. Health is your HP. This is the red bar after your shields, and your shields are frankly going to be more important, but that's what health is. Shields are the also health doesn't recharge. So if you get hurt, you either need to use a healing ability or you need to find a health orb. Shields, though, will replenish over time. So that's why we like shields in this game. Okay, sprint speed, I think you can figure that one out. Duration. Duration is the first of the, like, direct stats that will modify abilities, and how this modifies each of the, how this modifies each ability is dependent on the Warframe. So what I would generally do with any new Warframe is just sort of put in, like, a single mod at a time. As you get, you know, as you get further into the game, you'll sort of get an idea of what will probably affect what stat in a new ability. But if you're just starting out, this is what I'd recommend doing. So let's say, yeah, okay, I have things everywhere here, don't I? Okay, so let's just say that I'm just gonna remove everything here because I don't really care. But let's just say we wanted to see what silence is gonna get affected by. And we see that it has, like, you know, the drain, which is how much energy it takes, the radius, which is how far from you it is, and then the duration. So, then we're like, okay, so duration, which if we read here, modifies the duration of Warframe abilities and the energy cost of toggled abilities. So duration has a kind of twofold component, which is primarily going to be how long an ability lasts. So, you know, if we're to just base it off of this, we could probably healthily guess that duration would increase the amount of time this ability lasts. So we can confirm this, though, by just typing in duration, which is, by the way, if you don't know this, if you type in duration or any sort of stat in the search bar, then mods that have that in their, like, kits, whether it's a positive modification or a negative modification, will show up. So we have, like, narrow-minded, and this gives us plus 99% ability duration. So let's just say we're going to put that there. And as you can see here, the duration now has a green modifier and has increased. But as this is a corrupted mod, which is a mod that I do explain in my modding video, if you are curious about that, has a positive and negative effect, so it took away from that other stat, which in this case is range. As you can see here, we get plus 99% ability range while removing ability range. There are mods that only positively affect stats, such as Augur Message. So if we were to do that, we would see that the increase to the duration is not as intense, but it only modified that stat. So you can sort of start to move through various mods that you find and, you know, mess around that way. Generally speaking, for most abilities, I would say that a duration anything above 30 seconds is generally fairly comfortable to me, but you can play around with that yourself to see if that feels good to you. So then if we were to talk about efficiency, efficiency modifies the energy cost of a Warframe ability. This is what that drain that we were talking about with that little blue icon next to it, that's what the efficiency is referring to. It also will minimize the... It'll also, in the same way duration can minimize some of the drain cost of a channeled ability, efficiency can also lower those costs as well, since its main component is to lower the initial costs. Some Warframes will like efficiency more than duration, some will just like duration, some will just like efficiency. It really depends on the Warframe. I'm not going to try and explain every single one of them, because there's a lot of kind of, you know, idiosyncrasies depending on the frame. And thank you for the follow back, Sir Prime. Feel free to let me know if I need to slow down, or if this is too much info. But, just for an example, okay. Well, just type in efficiency, because, or, yeah, we'll just go fishy. It's close enough. And I'm just gonna go for Streamline, which is the base 30% ability efficiency one. This is a positive only. So we just throw this on, we can now see that we've increased our efficiency to 130%. And we can also see how that affects each of these abilities. So Silence now, instead of costing 75, now costs 52.5. Just think of it as 53. And Sentient Wrath, which was 50, is now 35. Same with Lethal Progeny. And this ultimate ability went from 100 to 70. And that's efficiency. Most simply put, reduces the amount of energy that you use per ability. Range modifies the range of Warframe abilities. This is true, though there are some special cases where you'll see that this modifies more than simply the range of an ability. I'd most notably mention Zaku, since range also directly affects the amount of disarm Zaku can do. Which is, again, a reason why I'm like, always mess around with it a little bit. But as you get further in, you can also sort of get a basic idea. So the default range mod, the one that you'll probably use the most, is Stretch. This gives you the 45% range increase. But there are other range mods as well. You have the Corrupted variants. Yeesh, where are you? Overextended, which will give you plus 90% range while reducing ability strength. You have Exilus mods, etc., etc. So that's what this does. You can see here that it increased the radius from 20 to 29 and meters. And so, again, depending on the type of Warframe, what the abilities are, the range and etc., and how, you know, will be something that you'll play with to fit your own personal play style. I'll also say, before I move on to the last stat, that builds tend to focus around one or two abilities in a kit, in which the player will be like min-maxing them, those particular aspects for maximum efficiency. And this can be done just through normal modding, but this can also be done through augments, which are a separate mod set as well that can create modifiers for different abilities. So, while you can obviously just simply go for a 100% kind of balance build without negatively impacting any stat, a lot of times you will take a hit to a particular stat because it doesn't really fit into your overall build, which is, again, where, you know, playing around with different things will come into play. Finally, you have strength for Warframes, and this modifies the strength of Warframe abilities. This is probably the most overarchingly kind of difficult one to quantify, since it doesn't simply necessarily mean how strong the punch of that ability is. It can also refer to things like how much damage reduction you get, how much armor strip you get. So again, just hovering over each of the abilities like the toolkit suggests, and seeing how this particular... So I'll just go strength. So I'm just going to put Blind Rage, which gives us plus ability strength while removing efficiency. And we can see here it has no effect on silence except dramatically increasing the amount of drain because of the efficiency there. Sentience Wrath, again, increases the amount of drain of this ability, but we see it increases the amount of targets it can control, it increases the damage it does, and it increases the damage vulnerability. The most basic ones that will not have any negative impact will be things like Intensify, which is just a base 30%. You can also look for Augur Secret, which will give you a 24% increase. And this is one of the Augur set mods, so you can see here there's a bunch of other mods here that also have effects. And these sets also only have positives, so great for that. Then you also have the Exilus variant, which would be Power Drift, which gives you 15%. So that's Warframes. As I kind of touched on, there are, again, different types of mods, and you can kind of classify them in different ways, such as the Exilus mods, which can be fit into this Exilus slot that you unlock with an item. And they have this little icon at the top of them here. Yeah. If you look up, it matches that slot there. You can put Exilus mods in that slot and only Exilus mods, but if you don't unlock that slot, you can also put Exilus mods anywhere else in your loadout. Just like you have set mods, you can tell those by the start of their name, like the Augur set. Okay, let's be in the all. So you have like Augur Record, Augur Reach, Augur Secrets, and these also have set modifiers, so the more of them you have on, you can see that the secondary ability is also increasing. So instead of it being just 40% of energy spent, it turns into like however much it is. Yeah, it turns into now 160 with these mini. Then we had the corrupted mods. Oops. Like Overextended, which you can tell these because they have the specific attribute of positively increasing one stat while negatively impacting another. And there are set mods, Exilus mods, and corrupted mods for Warframes. Exilus mods are mostly... Well, Exilus mods you can get versions of in the primary and secondary, but not in the melee. But melee has stance mods. So you can see right here, there's also that same like icon set for this primary that you can see in the top right here. And then this slot is your aura, which is one of the many ways that you can increase, well, one of the two ways that you can increase your mod capacity. By matching the little icon in the corner here to this icon in the slot. I think I have a, yeah, so I have a aura forma here, so I can put whatever I want. But usually they would look something like this, so like a dash. In the case of, like, Yeah, so let's just say that you see here that this one is like 12. We put this and matched it here, it turns into 6. That's what polarizing that does. Yeah. But in the case of auras, it does the opposite. When you match it, it'll double the capacity, and that capacity is added to your mod capacity up here. So instead of 60, we turn this into an extra 14 to give us 74. And yes, again, they do use the same ribbons as base variants. The difference would be the disposition, similar to how certain primes have different dispositions in their base variants. The same will apply to Kuva and Tenet weapons. Okay. Let's double check with chat right now. Okay. Okay, doesn't think there's... Yeah, I was around for when we had to use duplicates and stuff instead of endo, which is a good point to make. Best way to get in Trotty standing? I mean, there's really only one way, and that's by doing bounties. Either way, you're gonna need to do... I would just say do bounties and collect mother tokens. That's what I did. And then I just kind of waited. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Though, again, it is... So, one thing to